So, social media, the reason that it's worth discussing in a podcast where you can get a little bit more tone, a little bit more nuance, is because when you often hear people talking about it, it's either I'm quitting social media or I'm on social media, but there are middle grounds. I think you have to consciously try and figure out how to get there, how to get the value out of social media without, say, having it absorb your life.
How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
Absolutely chilling. I've been walking for like 3 hours a day. So
Damn, that is a lot of walking.
hope everyone listening is doing all right. Reading lots of books, watching all the free concerts on TV that are going on. I think that's going on today. Have you heard
Oh,
about that?
I have not. No.
It's a bunch of famous musicians doing like concerts. Like I think who's in it? I know Lady Gaga's in it. Elton John was in one. Like just a bunch of famous musicians are live streaming from their house, and it's being hosted by the Jimmys, Jimmy Kimmel and or Fallon. Good indoor activity.
Yeah, no, it's good. Keep social in these dark and isolating times.
Yeah, Mordor advances every day.
uh,
But yeah, I figured all this talk about like all the celebrities live streaming, the fact that nobody knows how to horizontally film on their phone, all that stuff got me
that
thinking about
that
social
that just
media.
hit hard.
Why can nobody horizontally film?
Okay, I will say it depends on where you're posting it, because if it's going to Instagram,
Yeah, that
vertical's
makes
fine.
yeah,
If
yeah,
and
yeah.
if that's like your primary audience, that makes sense.
Because I'm seeing so many things on like TV that are vertically filmed. I'm like, turn it sideways, you knob.
Is it like TV primary? Is that like where it's planning
um,
to go?
it's like some commercial stuff.
Like
Like it's like for
commercials?
commercials, for TV commercials.
That's so disappointing.
But yeah, that had to do with social media. And I was like, hey, Aiden was talking about social media.
Yeah, I was talking about social media because recently, and really always, I have been thinking about social media.
This wasn't staged at all. This
Oh,
was
the
a
whole conversation? Yeah, no.
completely natural segue.
I mean, I didn't know it was going to happen, so I had no idea how are we getting from A to B, but here
Eh,
we are.
along for the ride.
Yeah, it worked. We're at
Yeah,
social media now.
yeah. Wait, quick note beforehand.
Yes.
If this video is being recorded, I don't know if it is, but this is a home haircut done by my girlfriend and mom in collaboration. And, I've been able to hold off buzzing my head so far because it seems like every guy is buzzing their head. So
Oh,
because they can't get to the barber right now. So far I don't have to.
okay.
But yeah, I just thought I'd make note of that. And
I
neither
don't
do
think
you
I'm.
yet.
Well, I'm just cutting my hair like I normally would,
Exactly, yeah.
so it's
So
fine.
you don't have to get a buzz cut.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah, after this quarantine, the amount of buzz cuts is going to be through the roof. The amount of beards is going to be through the roof, and everybody's going to have high bread making knowledge. Because
Probably.
yeah,
Yeah.
I totally thought I was original with me and my girlfriend. We were like, let's make bread at home. That's so cool. We'll make a sourdough starter and everything. And then we didn't even get bread in our last we didn't even get flour in our last grocery shipment. And I'm like, what the heck? And then I saw on this news thing, it's like, everybody's making sourdough bread. And I'm like, I thought it,
No.
I thought it was our thing.
Yeah, your relationship isn't actually special.
I thought it was unlike other girls, but it turns out I'm like other girls.
You are, Evan. You are just the classic basic just making
Yeah.
sourdough bread in your quarantine.
Sourdough bread with a buzz cut and a beard. If I live to like 90, which I plan on, I'm gonna publish an autobiography because like I lived through this crazy quarantine era, and I'm gonna call it Buzz Cuts, Beards, and Bread. I'm just gonna
Nice.
put a pin in that so nobody can take it before me.
Why wait 90 years? Get writing now.
Publish it next year. I lived through COVID-19. Wow. Let me tell you guys all about it.
Yeah, it might sell.
Yeah,
Well, it's fresh in the memories.
yeah. Fresh like the bread.
Ooh, ooh, that's good. Put it
It's
out now, honestly.
I just like rip off John Green. The bread may have been fresh, but the memories were not. Anyway, we were talking about social media for one on this really weird
Yeah.
tangent.
So, social media. I think that the reason that it's worth discussing, and specifically discussing kind of in depth in a podcast where you can get a little bit more tone, a little bit more nuance, is because when you often hear people talking about it, it's either I'm quitting social media or I'm on social media. Those are the two options.
Like they're influencers.
Not necessarily influencers, but like you're either like unrestricted on the thing or you're not.
You're like heavy into it, or you're like actively giving it up.
Yeah, exactly. But there are middle grounds. I think you have to consciously try and figure out how to get there, how to get the value out of social media without, say, having it absorb your life
Yeah,
or cause all the very negative effects that you always hear about online, like people comparing themselves and all that.
yeah.
Lovely stuff.
Uh, yeah, that's funny because I think I've said it on the podcast, but yeah, I mean, you already knew that for Lent, for the 40 days before Easter, I gave up social media, which was initially it was just YouTube, Instagram, and Snapchat because those are the only ones I use. Like I never used Twitter. I never browsed Facebook, but I figured I may as well keep Messenger because that was like when I'm at school, it's the main way I communicate with my family is just like our Messenger chat and stuff. So I figured I'd keep that because that's basically the same as texting. So then the ones I actually used, Snapchat, Instagram, and YouTube, I gave up. And then about a week in, I decided to give up Reddit as well because I found like whenever I felt like I was like, oh, I want to go on like YouTube or Instagram or something, but I can't. I would just go on Reddit and I'm like, that's not really any better. That's kind of the same. So I gave up that too. Honestly, I think 40 days is long enough that it sort of just broke the habit because I was expecting like in the first week I was like on Easter I'm just going to like watch YouTube all day. Like it's going to be nice. But I actually like so far haven't really like done that much on it. Like I've done a bit of YouTube, but it's just because like people have like sent me stuff or I've been listening to music or something. I haven't really gotten back to actually watching YouTube, and I'm trying to actively not.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. That 40 days is plenty. Like in the book Digital Minimalism by Cal Newport, he recommends it 30-day complete detox to be able to break exactly that habit. So 40 days is loads.
Hmm.
And I think I did 30 days as well at one point, and I had the exact same feeling that at the end of that period, it's just I didn't have that constant compulsion to just go and check and see what was
Yeah,
up, see what was new.
yeah. With me, it was like because YouTube was the one I used by far the most.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like I want to go home and chill, and YouTube would be like the default activity. I would
Mhm.
just like if I want to chill, I'll just like lay down and watch some YouTube videos. It's not the worst thing in the world, but there's definitely better ways to spend your time.
What do you do instead to spend your time?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like I have massive amounts more time, to be honest, but just like I've been reading, I've been going for lots of walks and bike. Like if somebody's watching TV in the living room, I'll just like hang out there. I guess reading took most of the time that I would have spent.
What was the issue then that you were trying to solve by cutting YouTube out and trying to reduce the hours?
Just the compulsion, I
Mm.
guess. With YouTube and Instagram, those would just be like the two things I would do when I was just like default want to chill, default like I'm bored,
Mm.
like I'll do this. Those were like the only things I was doing in my spare time, and I'm like I can do a lot more interesting things in my spare hours other than just like sort of mindlessly absorb media. It's not that necessarily harmful. Like I wasn't like going to Instagram and looking at everybody's pictures and being like, "My life's so inadequate" or anything. Like there wasn't that.
I'm just picturing you standing in your bathroom looking at the mirror and just like writing I'm so inadequate
Yeah,
on there and like looking at
looking at
yourself.
pictures of other people's bread and being like,
You're
"This is so much better."
okay, that's something that I would picture you doing. Not comparing yourself, comparing your bread.
So I figured like this isn't necessarily that bad, but there's like actually beneficial stuff. Like it's probably better to for your brain and for your body and stuff to either like go for a walk or like play some guitar or read or something versus just like watch an analysis of movie accents.
Oof. Yeah, I feel that. I feel that.
Yeah.
I think I've done that too.
Yeah. I think it has been nice for my brain. Like I find get less wiped by the day, but it's also hard to tell because I'm not going anywhere
Yeah.
now, so it's hard to really hard to tell.
Yeah,
So
that's true. It's definitely not a scientific study. But yeah, I guess you didn't have any intentional things that you wanted to do more of
no, not
with this?
really.
Okay.
Maybe read a bit more, but what did you find from your 30-day?
I can't remember most of the specifics of it. I can't even remember when I did it. It's probably a year or two now.
Hmm.
But I definitely felt the same way that at the end of it, I didn't even really want to get back into YouTube, and I've never really looked at it the same way. I'm
Yeah.
definitely at a point where I'm not comfortable with the amount I'm on it still, or again. I can notice that and be a lot more uncomfortable with that, more so than before. The other thing, I think if I were to do it again, which I probably will do in the near future,
Mm.
I would specify things that I want to actually do more of,
Mm.
because I have found that if I try and limit or restrict or cut out something, be it YouTube or some kind of video games or any other bad habit, I'll often just move on to the next thing. Just find
Yeah.
something else like
Oh,
equally nonsensical.
something that did specifically replace my time that I didn't plan on it, specifically replacing it, but it did. Sometimes I would just like be like, oh, I'm really tired. I want to chill, go on my phone, but I couldn't do YouTube or Instagram or anything. So I
Mhm.
would do Duolingo.
Oh yeah, that's so good.
So just because I was bored, I was like aced in Duolingo. By the way, Diamond League right now, top league. Don't
Ooh.
at me.
Oh, top
Swedish
league.
master.
Shit.
Not top of diamond, but that is the top league.
Oh, okay.
So
That sounds impressive.
yeah, kind of
Kind of a big
amazing
deal.
at Swedish.
Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah,
Basically fluent.
basically, drop me in the middle of like rural Sweden right now. I'm good. But yeah, so that was something that I think I started learning Swedish like 2 or 3 weeks before Lent started. So then that I didn't think about that, but that was like if I could plan it before, like plan it again, then I would totally be like, just instead of that, I'll do Duolingo because that's a very useful way to spend your time learning a language.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic actually.
Hmm.
Oh, I should start doing a little bit of that too.
Yeah,
If not
honestly.
Duolingo, I installed the Coursera app the other day.
What is that again? You told
It's
me about
a
that.
online learning platform. It's where the science of well-being is.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah,
So I
yeah.
could go
Wait.
through
Yeah,
some
yeah,
of
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, something like that because it's like an app that you open and it's kind of fun, you know. And
Yeah.
it's kind of a game, but it's like you can see the direct benefits of it as well.
Yeah, Duolingo sounds like the perfect thing for that. Because it's just gamey enough and just like chill enough that it is kind of relaxing. But yeah, actually, thinking back on it, I think that quitting YouTube probably was one of the influences on deciding to change degrees or programs.
Really? Wait,
Because
uh, but you didn't do do your digital detox or whatever during our podcast, did you?
no, it was before.
Okay, I was gonna I thought we would have
I
talked about that.
don't remember, but it was before our podcast. But yeah, I think it kind of influenced it because I couldn't do the distracting things, but I still wasn't doing the work that I wanted to be doing, like the schoolwork, just because I just really didn't want to.
Fair.
Yeah. It's like, it's not that I'm too distracted, it's just that I just don't want to.
Yeah, it's a revelation. You're
Yeah.
like, I'm not just procrastinating. It's also that I like am actually interested in other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's that once you remove the external factors from your life, you realize, oh, that the problem is actually with me or my relationship with this program or these courses.
Yeah. And you were talking before about you always hear either people like us like giving up social media for a time or people who are like heavy into it. What would you describe as like the middle, like the golden area?
I'm very glad you asked because I set up a mildly convoluted system on my phone that I'm very proud of at the moment.
Okay.
Okay, I'll start with a more simple example and then get into the phone one. Just
Yeah.
as the best illustration of finding a really good middle ground is, say, if you find that every time you open Facebook, you just start scrolling through the timeline, but you want to keep using it for Messenger or for the groups,
Yeah.
just for some reason, you can get, say, an extension for your browser that just blocks out the timeline so you don't see it. Whenever you go in, you can only see the things that you want to see. So
Okay, that's pretty good.
that's kind of the idea that you're going for.
So it's like only Messenger on your computer instead of. I mean, I have that on my phone.
Yeah, same, but the idea would be
Yeah.
for the computer.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. And
Okay,
you actually have this?
so I didn't ever do that, but that was an example that I've heard all over the internet, but also in digital minimalism.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I should do that.
Do you ever scroll Facebook?
Occasionally, yeah, because I've honestly not been using my phone all that often since
Yeah.
I've been staying home all day because I have my computer here. I can just pop open like Messenger anytime. So sometimes I will
Yeah.
open up Facebook.
Yeah, I use Facebook Messenger, but I can't scroll Facebook just because the stuff on it is like. There's some exceptions, but there's a lot of cringe on there.
Yeah, I really noticed a little while back what you were talking about the trash memes and challenges. Everybody with their 10 days of album covers or 10 days of being a mom or whatnot
Oh yeah.
challenges. No context, no explanations. What is this?
No offense to the people doing 30 days of like it's a story thing. There's like a 30-day chart, and it's like day 1 is a song that makes
Okay.
you happy. Day 2 is a song that you think of about when you were a kid. Day 3 is whatever, and so each day you're doing it, you post that song with this chart in the story.
Okay.
I don't care about your music tastes. So yeah, that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, geez. I hope the person who made me think about that isn't listening to this. I don't think they
Ooh,
do.
maybe they do. Maybe they
They
do.
have a fine music taste, but I just don't care.
But yeah, so a lot of social media is kind of trash. All right, I'll get into what I was doing with my phone was trying to solve the problem that I always come across when I think about deleting apps is that I'll say, "Oh, but I need it for work because I need to like advertise this show," or
Mm,
like I had for a while there I was posting a picture every day. I haven't been doing that lately, but that's besides the point. But there are
yeah.
always reasons where I'm like, okay, to advance myself as like a content creator, I got to use these platforms.
Yeah, yeah.
But then when I go in there, I'll inevitably scroll at least a little bit. Sometimes just a little bit. Sometimes I'll really get deep into an account or something. So what I did is I have an Android phone.
As everyone should.
True. And one of the features of Android phones is that you can have multiple accounts on them.
Oh yeah, I discovered that accidentally, and that messed me up a little bit a while ago.
Yeah, I actually remembered that you could do that specifically because I remember one time in middle school, I took your phone and added an account to it.
Yeah, and then I was like, "What the hell is this?" I was like, "Why is there nothing here? Like, where is all my info?" Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Scarred me for life.
but yeah, so what I did was I actually separated my phone into what I call the work profile and the personal profile.
Yeah.
And in the work profile, it's obviously got like messaging apps like Messenger, texting, and it's got all the social medias like Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook,
Hmm.
all the rest, and all my analytic apps and whatnot. So, all those things that I would consider work. And then on my other one, the personal one, I've got more relaxing stuff. So, I've got Audible there, I've got my podcast app there, I've got Fitbit there, and a few other things. Like if I were current with a meditation app, one would be there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of separating out like either I am messaging people and working on work stuff, or I'm relaxing and listening to a podcast. I'm not doing both at the same time.
That is very smart, actually.
I know, right?
I might need to make something like that for my computer, where it's like you know how you can have multiple accounts on a computer. So maybe you'll make like a school account and a personal account.
Yeah, actually. Oh, yeah, that would probably be good too, because then you could just install something like Cold Turkey and block out the distracting apps on your school one
Yeah,
or
I,
websites.
I've never heard of Cold Turkey. What is that?
It basically just blocks websites or applications, and you can set it to do it on a schedule and all that.
Because sometimes I'll just be like doing school, and then I'll just like open another thing, open Reddit and browse because I'm bored,
Hmm.
and then like go back to the stuff I'm doing, and then open something else.
Hmm.
But if it's actually different users, then that would be a big hassle, and I'd probably just be like, oh, I'll just finish school.
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the keys is to make the activities mutually exclusive, in that you can only do the school stuff on the one account and you can only do the chilling stuff on the other account. So you actually like maybe block the productive school or work stuff on your personal
Oh
account.
yeah, like no like Outlook or anything.
Yeah, exactly. So that you have to switch and like consciously change what you're doing.
Hmm.
You can't just
Okay,
have YouTube open and your email open, say.
it's pretty smart.
So it incentivizes you too to just get that stuff done and then switch accounts.
Speaking of all this productive stuff, I've still been pretty much sticking to that 8-hour workday thing, and it's still been pretty good. But because I'm like on my own schedule, it's been going later and later. So I've been starting. So well, like one day I was like I started at like 11 or 11:30 or something, and then I just like worked till 7:30, which like you could say like we like ate dinner and then I did a bit after.
Yeah.
You know, not ideal, but it's still pretty good to have as a bare bones.
Yeah, no, I think that is good. And are you being like intentional about it? Like you're saying, all right, I'm starting now and then I'm ending now?
Like I always try to end around 8 hours after I do the first thing in the day. Especially now, I don't really plan on starting at any time. I just make note of when I start doing school stuff, and then
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I'll be finished 8 hours from now. So, and I always try to do it before noon, but
Yeah.
like
No, that's
that's
good.
not an especially early. I've been trying to gradually get back a somewhat decent sleep schedule because it
Oh,
was
yeah.
like it was like 1:30 to 9:40 was like my
Hmm.
regular thing, and I'm like, yeah, that's a little late. How about you?
Oh, all over the place, honestly, especially the past week. Just lost control of all of that.
Yeah. It's really weird having like no real commitments. It's like midnight and you're like, I can stay out for 2.5 hours. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know. I still feel bad about it if I stay up late, but it just happens.
Hey, something with keeping a routine
Yeah.
during quarantine. That's good advice. Is you should still have a complete separation between work week and weekend, which I do naturally anyway. And this was actually advice from my parents, and it didn't really affect me because every day, like even the weekends, I get dressed every day and whatever. But they're like every weekday, get dressed. Try to wake up at a somewhat half decent time, get dressed, and do your work in the day, like a regular work week. And
Mhm.
then when it's the weekend, you don't put as much pressure on yourself to work. Like you can stay in your pajamas all day if you want to, and like you can sleep in more and stuff, just as a way of differentiating and keeping it seem like time is actually passing and you're not just having the same thing 7 days a week. So, and that's been nice. I mean, I already pretty much do that because I never stay in my pajamas all day, but
One of the things that I did do to try and really coax myself into getting stuff done for a couple of days there when I really needed to get a few school projects done was to actually go full on like tie and everything just during the day.
yeah,
That was actually a really good routine of getting completely dressed up like formally like that,
yeah.
just because it was like, all right, I'm getting ready to attack the day. I'm going to get this shit done.
Look good, feel good.
Exactly. That's very true. Yeah.
It is a different state of mind when you're wearing a suit or wearing formal clothes like that.
Yeah, you feel completely different about yourself when you're doing that.
It's like put together.
Very much so. Yeah.
That's kind of why I like to get at least dressed every day as well, is because fully like in the day, you like this is a day I'm gonna make it count and do stuff, even if it's like only enjoyable stuff. I'm still gonna like make it count and do stuff.
Hmm.
Versus if I'm in Like, I only stay in my pajamas all day if I'm, like, really ill, and then it's just, like,
Yeah.
I haven't even done anything noteworthy today, like, there was no point in this day existing.
Oh, yeah, I feel that sentiment. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
get dressed every day, because it's, like, every day, even if you're not doing work stuff, you should do something that, like, matters to you.
That's really the frustration I think with social media is that I'll get to the end of the day and I'll feel like, well, that's another day gone. That's just one less day in my life. Just wasted.
Yeah, I find stuff that helps with not feeling that way is, like, getting dressed every day and going outside for a decent amount of time during the sunlight hours.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't been doing that over the past week. That probably really explains the wacky sleep and work schedule lately.
Yeah. The sun is part of the circadian rhythm.
That's true. Yeah, that would help. I've been
Mm.
going out every like 3 or 4.
At 3 or 4 or?
Every 3 or 4 days.
Oh, okay. I was thinking AM. I'm like, "Bruh, your sleep schedule is messed up. What the heck?"
Yeah, you get up and you go out for a walk, 4 a.m.
Actual vampire. Nocturnal. No.
Man, honestly, I don't think I could handle getting up at 4 a.m., but I kind of want to.
That's a bit too early. My grandparents live in a a really rural area, and the people across the street from them live on a farm. They don't keep regular farm hours. Sure, farmers wake up early, but these people wake up like Mark Wahlberg early. They wake up at like 3 a.m. and I'm like, that's the middle of the night. It's still dark for like 4 hours after that. Like, what are you gonna do?
The concept of that really appeals to me in that you wake up and then you have all this time while everybody else is asleep to just do stuff.
Yeah.
And it'd be a combination of productive stuff and just chilling.
What kind of shifty stuff do you have going on that you need everyone to be asleep when you're doing it?
Nothing. That's just the introvert side of me who
Oh,
doesn't
I get.
even want anyone else to be conscious in
Yeah.
the world.
No, I get that. I get
Yeah.
that. In high school, when I totally didn't get enough sleep, I would go to bed like an hour or two later than the rest of my family because it was nice to just have the whole house and just like
Mhm.
around to myself because nobody was awake. So that is nice, but
Yeah.
not for me anymore. Like that is for me, but the either waking up early or going to bed late, nah.
Yeah, I think it's also the concept of I always have this anxiety about messaging people, like feeling that I'm not messaging fast enough.
Mm.
And boy, oh boy, my average response time during this pandemic is probably like 48 to 64 hours or something to texts.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say seconds. It's like,
No, it's gotten real bad. So, but I feel that in the morning or when I think that people are sleeping, there's just no expectation
yeah,
that I should be talking to anybody, and it's like peace,
yeah.
relaxation.
Well,
This is nice.
we're on the same wavelength then,
Yeah,
because
very much so.
I take like a full day to respond to text sometimes. I think we talked about those people who wake up at like 3 a.m. to work out?
I don't think so. We have not
Oh,
talked about it.
I saw somebody's daily routine and they woke up at literally 2:30 a.m.
Yeah.
and like did a whole bunch of like workout and like meditation and whatever and then went to bed at 7:30 and I'm like that's like 50% nocturnal in my books. Like that's actually half nocturnal. Just the other way than a lot of people are.
That is true. That is very different from the
Yeah.
average routine. I don't know.
Yeah.
That sounds chill.
I would try it, but
Podcast challenge, waking up at
yeah.
2:30 a.m.
Yeah, oh god. That would take so much like discipline because nobody else goes to bed at 7:30. So you'd have to like actively be like, "Okay, bye everyone who I'm talking to or interacting with. I have to go to bed now." Like
Yeah.
4 hours before you guys.
2:30 sounds very extreme. I don't think that's it.
That's too early. That's way too early.
Once you start hitting like 4 or 5, that starts to get into my mind's acceptable range.
In my mind, morning starts at 4:30 a.m. Before that is at middle of the night.
Interesting. 4:30. Okay.
Like anytime around 5ish is the only time when you could conceivably look at your alarm and be like, I'll just stay awake. if you woke up,
Mm-hmm.
versus if you wake up and you see 2:30, then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go back to sleep. This is a major weird tangent we're on.
Yeah, but I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is a good one.
Yeah. How nocturnal can we be? We try being nocturnal for a month.
Yeah, it's half nocturnal for a month.
If I had to wake up at 2:30 and podcast, I would actually be like the I would be an actual zombie.
Yeah, I suspect that our lives would be a lot worse for being that early.
Our whole lives. But like I would watch somebody else try it.
There was a good one by Matt Diavella about
What did
getting
he
up
do?
at, I think, 5 a.m.
For
for 30 days.
why? Why did he say so?
He wanted to try it, I think it was for productivity reasons mostly.
Huh.
Because everybody online's going like, I get up at the crack of frickin' dawn and I'm going to get everything done.
I wake up at 2 a.m., work out for 5 hours, and then study Chinese.
Yeah, his video is actually very interesting, though, in that he concluded that it really was not for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is the opposite of what I was expecting.
I'm going to keep doing this forever. I was so productive and I feel amazing. And then he's like, nah, too early.
Yeah, it sounded like it really made his life a nightmare.
It would be really hard to be social.
Yeah.
Like in regular times, because hey, let's do our big social gathering in the middle of the afternoon and not like around at least dinner time or later.
I don't know. You can always work with that. Just get people to get together, or like close friends to get together in the afternoon.
You could, but I feel like you'd miss a lot of stuff.
Possibly. I don't know. I guess it depends on what your priorities or values are.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like you would have to turn down a lot of stuff or leave really early.
And you'd probably find new acquaintances or friends who are closer to your sleep schedule.
Farmers. At least going to bed at like 9:30 isn't crazy.
What's the math on that? Oh, yeah, that's like 6 a.m. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, well, going to bed at 9 and waking up at 5 would be 8 hours. So, like,
if you actually want to get 8 hours of sleep, you need more than 8 hours of in bed time.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah.
For me personally, at least according to the Fitbit, I usually need to add like an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because when you combine the getting to sleep and then tossing and turning, like there are just periods when I'll occasionally wake up in the night, apparently, even if I don't remember them.
Something I'm very pleased that I've gotten from my dad and his dad, pretty much always fall asleep within 10 minutes of my head hitting the pillow, and then am very hard to wake up.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd be curious to see if you had like a Fitbit or something.
So what are the conclusions we've drawn here?
I think we're getting up at like 4:30 a.m.
I think we're getting up at 4:30 a.m. and going on Instagram, and then doing some Duolingo, and then making bread.
Okay. And meditating the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like you're sitting in lotus position, hovering a foot off the floor for this whole thing.
Oh yeah, 100%. Just like Yoda with his
exactly.
Jedi Master floaty thing.
Exactly, yeah. That sounds like an absolute plan.
Okay. But I guess the actual conclusions from the social media portion of this
for
discussion.
Sleeping, go to sleep and wake up at a regular time. That's the conclusion there.
Yeah, unless you want to try something else, and then honestly, try it. I don't know. As long as you're getting enough sleep.
Yeah.
You do you. Find a time that's good for you.
Yeah.
But in terms of the social media, I guess it's give detoxing a try because it gets rid of that compulsion.
Yeah.
That little bit of fear that causes you to keep coming back. And then put a bunch of accounts on all your devices.
Yeah. There you go. It just comes back to the separation of work and leisure.
And of course, as always, just trying stuff out and seeing what works. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know if this strategy will work for everyone. It probably will.
You don't need to quit it completely and become a hermit, but
yeah, you need to figure out how to be more like a vampire.
Yeah, there you go.
Just quickly going in, sucking some blood, getting out.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess more like a mosquito than a vampire. Would vampires kill you, don't they?
Who's to say?
I assume. I don't know.
Hey, vampires aren't real.
That's what the government wants you to think.
Yeah. I hope everyone listening is finding what works for them. Usually, it's somewhere between the extremes of procrastination and being a robot. Moderation is usually key for everything. So you don't need to absolutely delete all social media, but you also shouldn't be spending all your time on it.
Man, that's the real frustrating thing is that I'm not a robot or a computer program.
You just wish you were.
Because my mind always thinks in terms of systems, in terms of optimization and programs and all that. That's just how I work. But then I've got all these human bugs just in my code.
You're literally asking to be assimilated to the Borg.
Man, just imagine how productive you could be if you were a
Being a
member of the
Borg.
Borg.
Yeah.
Get so much Borg work done.
Building a big cube.
Yeah, I don't know
And
what else they do.
pretty much just build more big cubes and make more Borgs. And that's all they need to do.
Yeah, pretty much. You'd be so good at that.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. But yeah, I feel like we have some actual wisdom buried in all this banter here.
Yeah, I think there's some good experiences in the mix.
And if anyone wants to see the beautiful loaf of bread I baked today, I'll send it to Aiden to put in the show notes. So until next time, I guess. Peace out, audience.
Until next time, keep up the social
Keep up the productivity too.
and keep up the distancing. Stay safe.